what I've been thinking of is, you know how we were talking one time about ideally just being able to stand in one place without moving no matter what's happening.
The idea of stillness as it relates to smaller and smaller circles. When you're doing a big neutralization, then you're taking this and you're neutralizing it until it's no longer a threat, and then continuing to neutralize it long after it's no longer a threat, and continuing to be on the other person's center. Okay. So what a lot of people do in the beginning is that they neutralize, but they're not on the other person's center. So they're not connecting. Yeah. So the circle, so if you neutralize and you stay on the other person's center, then the circle very quickly becomes very small. So because you realize that you've neutralized already, you're on the other person's center, there's no need to go any farther, you're done. The other idea of stillness is that the needle is getting shorter and shorter and closer to you. That makes the circle smaller. So the radius of the circle is smaller because the spoke is shorter. So the needle inside the cotton, when we're doing G, it's getting closer, the needle is getting shorter. When we're doing an, the needle is getting longer. So, but it's always having that engagement. So it's always, your power is always coming from the ground into me. And if there's any lateral pressure, the circle's too big.
Got it.
Okay. So the circle's too big if you're not engaging from the center towards me.
Got it.
Okay. So this big circle, I'm out here, I'm neutralizing that way, but there's nobody over there.
Right.
So I neutralize this way, now it's only to there.
Okay.
So this,
as you're, that happened spontaneously, but I caught it as it was happening.
That's good, yeah. So then the...
Because I didn't move.
Right, exactly. So then the stillness is actually a very active process. Being still and being balanced is really difficult because you are managing every portion of the body. So you have the foot moving forward and backwards, left and right, up and down, pitch, yaw, and roll. And it's doing all of those things and trying to be in the middle all the time so that it has the maximum potential in any direction. And then the ankle does that, and the shin does that, and the knee does that, and the hip does that, and the waist, and everything, all the way up through the body, so that you are in this middle point all the time. So the waist is not braced like this, where it can't go any farther this way. Once something has gone to the extreme on that axis, not only can it not go that way anymore, but it can only go this way. It can't even go sideways. It can't go in the other axes because of the resistance at that extremity. So by freeing it up off of that and you let it come back to the middle, so it's not going forward too much or backward too much. It's not going left or right too much. It's not going up or down too much. It's always right in the middle, so it has that infinite potential in any direction.
So as you're doing that, what I'm feeling is that when, for me to stay on your center, if you push, then it just happens.
That's right.
Like that,
Yeah.
because because what I've given up is the idea that I have to do this.
Right.
Right? So you make pressure.
That's it. The idea that you have to do this, that you have to do a technique, is death. That's the end of the fight. You've given up all of your potential for that one idea.
Right. And so
it's that constantly being in the middle and constantly maintaining that infinite potential that allows you to change. There you go.
Yeah.
Allows you to change direction.
This is what I was thinking. So if you put your arm out, right? So when you were talking last time about the needle withdrawing, and I didn't quite get it, but now when you do this, what I feel is, so if you're pushing, so there's the needle withdrawing. It's coming in.
That's right.
And I'm not trying to make it. I don't have idea. Oh, I got to withdraw. It's being really responsive to what you're doing.
Right.
It's not like, oh, now the needle has to withdraw. It's like as you push, you're pushing my water. If I'm the water, you're pushing me out of the way.
That's right. Yeah, and it's not the needle that withdraws. The needle is always the needle. It's always infinite and infinitely big, infinitely small. What changes is the centripetal point of engagement that allows the needle to stay sharp and allows it to stay on target.
Yeah.
So it's that. Okay. If otherwise it's this lateral and distal pressure,
Yeah.
like this, so I can push and you're going to bounce right off it.
Right.
But if I allow the needle to change, then I can keep that connection to the ground.
Yeah.
And so I can plow into you, and if you have that connection, then when I do this, I can lean right into you,
Yeah.
right, like that, and I can, and that's going to go into the ground. But if I allow the needle to change, then that happens. And it's that point versus surface area
So
engagement.
when if you're pushing now, and I do that, so I can feel it like literally coming in close.
That's it. And if I continue to push, I have nothing because you're not there anymore. You've not been attached to it. And if I'm attached to it, I'm still pushing your center even though your center is not there.
Right.
So if you just do the thought and don't move, there, you're done. Now I'm continuing to push. I'm still attached because I still think that my hand is between me and you, but it isn't. Because the circle is smaller, I've now made it worse for myself.
Right.
And because I'm still deluded into thinking that I'm pushing against something. I'm not being very diplomatic either. And the lack of diplomacy backfires.